Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our online lessons in animation. And for this instance, we're going to create a character jumping over an obstacle. So right now we are inside the Adobe Animate interface. By the way, I'm using Adobe Animate version 19, CC 19. Okay, so this is a blank document. Okay, so first of all, in layer one, we're going to create a some form of background. So probably I'm just going to select a gray color for the brush tool, and I'm gonna for the rough sketch, I'm going to use the brush tool right here. This is the brush tool. Okay, so probably I'm just going to create a straight line right here by holding my shift button. Okay. So, and then I'm going to create some form of obstacle right here, possibly or probably a boulder. So, lalagyan natin siya ng harang dyan, ano? Kasi magdodrawing tayo ng person na tumatalon over an obstacle. Okay? So, it's gonna be a rough sketch for the meantime. Okay? So, ayan siya. And probably I'm just going to select this just to place it a little bit better. Okay, ayan. So we have an obstacle right here. It's gonna be a boulder. Now you can make your own obstacle where your character is going to jump over it. Okay, so that's layer one, and we're going to label it as a background. And after that, okay, this is the timeline. By now you are now familiar with the frame-by-frame animation in Adobe Animate, I suppose. So this is the background, and you're going to lock it. And then after that, you're going to add another layer on which you're going to draw your character. Okay, so probably I'm going to use a lighter color here, possibly green, and I'm going to basically draw my character on the other side of on this side of the boulder. And my intention is to make this character jump over this obstacle. So, I'm just going to draw my character. So first of all, you have to know the basic shapes of your character. And this is just a rough sketch, which I've been practicing on drawing. So, ayan siya. No? This is the the basic shapes of my character, consisting of cylinders and some organic shapes like trapezoid. So, nag-uumpisa muna tayo we start off with the basics, with the basic shape of our character. Okay. So let me just shade the other leg just to show that it's on the other side. And here's his arm. Ayan, ganyan ang itsura niya, no? So, yan yung una nating character. Okay? So, probably we're going to uh, place him right here. Okay? So, ayan. So, ang plano natin sa kanya, tatalon siya. No? He's going to jump over this obstacle. Now, the question is, how many key poses are we going to create in order to convey that this character is jumping from one place to another? Now, the answer to that question is it depends on the animator. It depends on you as an artist. Okay? Now, one of the key poses will involve this drawing that depicts the character standing. Okay? So, probably as an animator, uh, one of the key poses that is going to be involved is the one that he is crouching because he needs to anticipate. Now, before we do that, remember we have a background layer right here. So I have to extend it further into this timeline, possibly until frame 60. So I'm going to press F5, or the long method for that is right-click, insert frame. Okay. And as you can see, the character is disappearing because the keyframe is only up until here. Okay, so let's just say that on frame 15, he's going to crouch. So I'm going to go to frame 15 and insert blank keyframe. And then, of course, I'm going to activate my onion skin. Let me just place this right here. Going to activate my onion skin right here. And as you can see the ghostly figure of my character. Now uh I'm just going to trace the head so as not to, so as not to accidentally alter its size. And probably I'm just going to put it down right here because the character is going to crouch. Okay, at this moment he's going to bend his knees. Something like that. And probably his arms is raised in a manner like this. So as you can notice, I'm just creating a rough sketch of my character. Okay. Meaning to say this is just a construction of my character. Meaning to say this is not yet the detailed version of my character. Later on, after we have completed everything, we are going to model, or we are going to flesh out the details of our character. Okay, so now we have created the second key pose of our character. Right there. Okay. Okay. And then probably after that, I'm going to create another drawing of the character that that depicts this, or rather, I'm going to create a new drawing that depicts the character stretching as it, or as he attempts to jump over that obstacle. So I'm going to create a new blank keyframe right here. Remember, we're creating a blank keyframe if we are creating a new drawing. So at that moment, I am going to activate again my onion skin. You can actually stretch this onion skin further into the first drawing. So, okay, I'm just going to trace the head right here. Okay, and I'm going to select it using my lasso tool. And of course, there goes the free transform tool. And at the same time, I'm trying to maintain an arc. And as you can remember, arc is one of the principles in animation. Okay, let's just fix the body right there. And his feet is a little bit stretched in a tiptoe manner. So ganyan yung itsura niya. A little bit exaggerated as he tries to take off from the ground. Okay, so let's try to scroll the timeline. So ayun, magte-take off na siya. Okay. And then probably after that, okay, I'm going to create another drawing right here. Probably it's up to you where you're going to put your drawing next, or probably in frame 25, right-click, insert blank keyframe, and activate the onion skin. course, I'm always tracing the head because I don't want to lose the size of the head. Okay? Yung katawan kasi okay lang na pabago-bago, pero yung katawan, yung ulo kasi pangit pagka nagbago siya. Okay? So, probably his position is something that looks like this. So, that's his position. Okay. All right. So, ayan na siya. Tumatalon. Okay. Then after that, he's going to basically land on the other side. Okay. So remember, we are just creating the key poses. We haven't created yet. We aren't drawing yet the breakdowns and in betweens. So anyway, after that, we're going to press F7, which is a shortcut for the insert blank keyframe, and activate again once the onion skin. And I'm going to trace again. Okay. Oops. I accidentally selected the brush tool. It should be the lasso tool for that matter. And here he goes. So he's landing on the other side of the boulder. And the boulder, as you can see, serves as the obstacle on which he has to overcome. Now, for creative purposes, we can draw the other foot landing first. Meanwhile, the other foot is still in midair, so that it's more realistic. All right. So here he goes. It's not a perfect animation, but you can see the flow. We can still edit it. And as you can see, as I've mentioned earlier, this is just a rough sketch because in animation, you have to draw rough sketch first, especially when you're dealing with frame by frame animation. Okay, you don't have to clean your drawings right away. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna press Control S here, which means the shortcut for Control Save or Save As. Okay, jumping character 2024. Okay, then after that, I'm going to create a new drawing, F7. I'm gonna trace some heads here because I don't want my head to shrink or to change in size. So probably it's gonna crouch right here, almost similar to the first one or the second drawing. So he's gonna land here. And probably his other hand is sticking right here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so he crouches like that. Let's just edit this a little bit more because, we are kind of a perfectionist. Okay, so let's activate our onion skin and just to make sure that we have an arcing motion that we're following. Oh, there has to be an arc. Okay, there has to be an arc. Okay, so then after that, okay, after the crouching position, because he's going to, his knees are going to absorb the impact of his high jump. And then after that, he's going to settle. So another key pose will be, as I've estimated it, okay, is the one that he's standing. So I'm going to press F7 and of course, activate the onion skin once again. And my computer is lagging. I'm going to trace back the head. And at this moment, he's going to stand up right here. Okay. And let's just edit this a little bit. Put it right here. Adjust. Make the necessary adjustments. Okay, let's just adjust the onion skin right here because it's kind of distracting if you extend the onion skin too much. Let's just adjust the character, the height of the character. And here he goes. Let's just adjust the character. And there he goes. Okay, so let's just play it. And at that point, I think this is done for now. And what I'm going to do with the last frame is I'm going to extend it further right here. Press F5 or right click, insert frame. And what it does is it extends the last keyframe up until here. It has to be the length of the character animation right here in this layer should be equal to the length of the background right here. Okay. So these are my rough sketches. These are the rough sketches of my animation. Okay. So let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to probably make these into 4-frame exposure. For the moment, I'm going to make it into a 4-frame exposure. Okay. Now you can press Control Enter for you to see the actual movement of this animation. So I don't know if it's going to show in this recording, but I hope it does. So I'm going to press Control Enter, and that's basically the real animation. Control Enter. Okay, so I'm going to X that, to close that. And we are done with the rough sketches of the key poses. Remember, these are just the key poses. These are not yet the in-betweens. There's no in-betweens yet. After this, I am going to clean up. Now, after this, you're going to clean up your drawings. Of course, you're going to put some details on your character. Okay, so for the meantime, we have just drawn the key poses or the rough drawings, the rough key poses of your character. So the next thing that you're going to do is to put the details, the necessary details of your character. So that's it for now. Goodbye for now. Hello, everyone. So we continue with our animation activity. And for this instance, we are animating, or rather, we are doing this character, which is jumping over an obstacle. And for this video, we're going to clean up this character. We're going to flesh out the details of this character. In the realm of 2D animation, we call it modeling. Okay, just like in 3D animation, we're going to model our character. Okay, so we have added a layer here, and I have renamed it rough model. So in my previous demonstration, I have created a layer for the character roughs, which contains these drawings. And as you can see, these are the keyframes of that animation. And now I have created a new layer for this, and it's called rough model. Okay, so we're basically going to flesh out the details of our character. So right now I'm going to use this color right here. Probably I'm going to use a gray color, a darker gray. And then after that, of course, I'm going to select the brush tool, which is conducive for rough sketching our character, especially when we're trying to flesh out the details. Now we're not yet on the cleanup. We're not yet on the cleanup area. We're not yet on the cleanup activity. We're still in the rough sketch making. Okay, so and I hope I'm making sense. It's kind of difficult to demonstrate while talking. So basically, I'm going to put some details on this character. Okay. Now I'm using the brush tool. And let's just say that he's wearing some kind of polo shirt. Okay. This is still a rough sketch. A rough sketch of the model. Meanwhile, just a while ago, what we did was the rough sketch of the character construction. And as you can remember, all characters begin with character constructions. And of course, that's why I keep telling my students to memorize their character constructions so as to maintain the consistency of the appearance of their characters. Okay, so that's our character. Okay, and for our next drawing, so we're going to create another blank keyframe on this new layer that we just created. Okay, don't forget to lock the other layers, of course. And and then okay, for this third layer, I'm going to press insert blank keyframe. And basically I'm going to add another drawing right here. Let's just say that the character is squinting in anticipation of his jump. And as you can remember, we have to be consistent with our character. He's wearing a polo shirt. Now the brush tool is a little bit thick. That's why I can't draw effectively the fist or the hand of the character. So we will just deal with it later as we move on with our animation. And please remember that we are currently fleshing out the details of the key poses of our character. Okay, so that's the second drawing. And this is the third drawing. So let's just say that the character is moving, looking up and smiling probably. So he's a little bit stretched right here because he's taking off. All right, so we have created at least 3 drawings. Let's just put some hair probably. That looks like this one. I can't think of a hair. Let's just probably leave it as that. Ayan. Mga ganito na lang siguro na buhok. Yan, okay? And probably it has to be consistent. Yeah, so he looks like that. Okay, so for the rest of the video, I'm going to fast forward this one. And again, using my brush tool, I am going to flesh out the details of this character. Okay, so remember, we are still rough sketching even the details or the model of our character. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward this for the sake of the brevity of our time. Okay, so sit back and relax. Okay, so here's our animation so far. We have fleshed out the details of the rough sketch that we initially created. And this is the result of it. So if I'm going to hide this layer right here, you can see the construction of the character. Now, when you say construction, it pertains to the basic shapes of the character. When you say model, it is the details, the nitty-gritty details of the character. Okay, however, our character is still in rough sketch form. If I am going to hide the layer containing the construction, this is how it appears. Okay, so that's our animation right there. So with the construction, here is how it looks like. Okay, so if I'm going to press Control Enter, you're going to see the actual animation. So that's it. So that's the actual animation. Okay. So in our next video, we're going to clean up our drawing so that we can color it. Okay. So I'm going to see you in the next video. Goodbye for now. Okay. So for this video, we're going to clean up our drawing. And as you can see, we have fleshed out the details of the character. So we started off with the character construction, and then afterwards, we fleshed the necessary details of the character. And for this video, we're going to clean up our character. And for me to do that, I'm going to add another layer here, and I'm going to make sure every layer is locked. Okay, so we have a layer 1 right here. And I'm gonna rename it as clean up. Okay. So this is the layer where I'm going to clean up my character. And of course, let's take a look at the drawing. Okay. The brush tool that I've used in fleshing out the details of my character is gray. So here's the thing. I am going to use the line tool, and aside from the line tool, I'm gonna use also the paintbrush tool. Now, these two Adobe Animate tools, the line tool and the paintbrush tool right here. This is the paintbrush tool, and this is the line tool. They are both called strokes. And whatever the color of this upper box right here will be the color of the line tool and the brush tool. Okay, so for this instance, I'm going to use the color black. However, my problem is if I am going to trace this using the line tool, for instance, it's it's dark. I mean, the color of the color of the brush tool, the gray one, is interfering, meaning to say, because of its dark color, I cannot see my line tool or my my paintbrush tool. Okay, so for that, I am going to change the color of these drawings. Okay, so I'm gonna unlock my rough model. Okay, and I am going to select the edit multiple frames right here and stretch it all the way up to the last frame. And as you can see, you can actually you can see all of my drawings, the fleshed out details of the character. And from there, make sure that all the layers are locked except the rough model. I'm going to press Control A, or rather, if you don't want to Control A, you can use the lasso tool basically to select all the drawings. And now that you have selected it, you can simultaneously change the color of these drawings. So remember, these are brush tools. These are the drawings of a brush tool. So this is the color of the brush tool right here. I am going to select this and change it into something that is lighter. And what we have here is gonna be like this. Okay, and I'm going to deactivate the edit multiple frames. Okay. And of course, I am going to blind. I'm going to cover the layer of the character roughs, the one in green. I'm going to blind it so that I can only see the fleshed out details or the model. We call it the model, okay, the rough model. Okay, so of course I'm gonna lock everything so that I can clean up these drawings. Okay, so I'm gonna use a combination of the line tool and the paintbrush tool because basically the line tool and the paintbrush tool are the same. Okay, so I am going to press, let's just say I'm gonna press line tool, and the thickness of the stroke will determine the thickness of the line. So let's just say I'm gonna make it 3. So the thickness of the line depends on you. It depends on your preference. Okay. So I think I'm good with this. Or probably I can make it 4. Okay, that's much better, I guess. And for the paintbrush tool, it's also in 4. Okay. Now I'm going to clean up my character using the line. Here's the line, and here's the paintbrush, okay, which is different from the brush tool. Okay, so the shortcut for the paintbrush is Y. The shortcut for the line tool is N. So I'm gonna press N, and of course there is a partner for that, which is V. And the V is this selection tool right here. If you select the selection tool, you can actually bend the line. Okay. Okay. Whenever I press N for the straight line, I press V to curve it up. So that's how you clean your drawing. And then V. N and V. Now, of course, you can use the paintbrush tool, the shortcut of which is Y. It should be well, the shape of our character's head is a little bit squarish. And that's basically how he looks. Of course, maybe I should convert this. I think I should change the thickness of my line and just make this stroke by 3. So in order for me to make it a little bit thinner. And there you go. So it's not a pretty clean up, no? Hindi masyadong maganda yung pagkakagawa natin. Pero at least you get the concept. Okay? And let me just trace the whole character in this first frame. That's basically how he looks like. Okay. And I'm primarily using the paintbrush tool at this moment. So I can use the line tool if I want to. It depends on you. Whatever is easier for you to use, you can go for it. So I am going for the paintbrush tool most of the time. It depends on your preference, actually. These are the best cleanup tools in Adobe Animate. The paintbrush and the line tool. Now, let me remind you that the paintbrush tool is different from the brush tool. Okay. Okay, so now we have created the first cleanup drawing. And our next will be the second frame. We're going to clean that up. And for this step, for the succeeding drawings, we are just going to fast forward this video. So again, you can use either the line tool or the paintbrush tool. And they're right here. This is the paintbrush right here, and this is the line tool. Okay, so sit back and relax. I'm gonna fast forward this video. Okay, so see you. Okay, so now we have cleaned up our character using the line tool and the paintbrush tool. And so as a final result, we have this. Okay, so since the timeline sometimes is lagging when you play the animation, I encourage you to press Control Enter on your keyboard for you to see the real animation. So if I'm going to press Control Enter, this is what we're going to see. Okay. So you can still see the construction and the rough model. Okay, so what I'm going to do right there is that, okay, I'm gonna close this one. And to cover the rough sketch, you're going to right click on that layer and press guide, select guide. So you can see a sledgehammer right there, a sledgehammer icon. And of course, that's what you're going to do with the rough model. Right click and then press guide. So both of them have a sledgehammer on their layers. Okay, now if you press Control Enter, you're not gonna see the rough sketches anymore. Okay, so now we have cleaned up the character, and normally what we're going to do is we're going to color it. But the problem is our character's animation is not yet smooth. And so we have to add some in-betweens on these drawings. All right. So in our next video, I am going to add some in-between drawings. Okay. So I'm going to see you in the next video. Goodbye for now. Okay. So after cleaning up the key poses of the character, I'm going to add some in-between drawings in order for us to further smoothen the animation, because drawing key poses is not enough, and so we have to have some in-betweens. We have to draw in-betweens in order to smoothen the animation. And of course, we created some rough sketches, and for this instance, we're going to blind those. We are going to cover those drawings. Okay. And so you can erase those layers, okay, and or you can just retain them. Okay, for this exercise, maybe I'm just going to retain them. Okay, so let's begin with this anticipation right here. Okay, so we have here the cleanup layer. Okay, so the animation between the movement of the character between this posing and this posing is quite jerky. So I'd like to smoothen this by adding some in-between drawing. So what I'm going to do is, for me to do that, in between these drawings, that's why it's called in between drawings, no? Okay, so I forgot some minor details right there. So what I'm going to do right here is that I'm going to add another in between drawing between these two drawings right here. And so for me to do that, I'm going to press F7 or the shortcut for the blank keyframe, the insert blank keyframe. So F7, and then I'm just going to activate my onion skin. And depending on you, well, uh, you can actually trace back the head, okay, using the paintbrush tool probably, or the line tool. I can just trace back the head like this. Now, the number of in-between drawings depends on you as an animator. Sometimes you have to draw plenty of it depending on the spacing of the drawings. Yun yung mahirap sa kanya. May konting analysis kasi yan. Merong element ng tansyahan. Okay? There's an element of guessing game or estimation when it comes to determining how many numbers or how many drawings are you going to add or subtract. So, okay, so I think I think I okay, I'm just gonna put this right here because it's the in-between drawings. And of course, it's the head should be a little bit there's an arcing motion that we're following right here. Okay. And so the body will somehow fall to this. This is going to be the registration of his body. And that's how you do it. So we're basically drawing on the in-between of those two drawings right here. That's why it's called in-betweens. And sometimes it's necessary that you create a rough sketch first of the in-betweens. But in my case, I think I can do it without roughing it, without necessarily creating a rough sketch of it. Kasi ano na sanay na ako. So I've been animating this jumping animation since time immemorial. So pag sinabi mong in between, yung gitna ng dalawang drawings yung tinitira mo. Okay? So ganyan siya, no? This is how you do it. Ayan. Okay, so and there you go. So we have smoothen this up. Okay. And probably I am going to add another drawing here. I'm just gonna tilt this head a little bit. There you go. And I'm gonna add, okay, this is the in-between drawing, and between this in-between drawing and another drawing, okay, I'm gonna create another in-between drawing between these two drawings. So I hope I'm making sense. The bottom line the bottom line here is that we're trying to smoothen our animation. Okay, so I'm going to press F7 right here and activate my onion skin to see the last and the next drawing. So I'm gonna trace back the head. And of course, I'm going to put his head in between. And if I'm going to extend my onion skin, you can see the arcing motion of our character. It's like an arc. Okay, it's like an arc. So you can see that they're following an arc path. Okay, so there you go. Okay, you just adjust the onion skin. Okay, I'm using the line tool right now. Okay, so here goes the in-between lines. His leg is about to bend. So as you can see, frame by frame animation is a very intensive, a very drawing intensive affair as compared to character rigging and cutout animation. Okay. The advantage of frame by frame animation is that it gives you more freedom, especially with regards to the posing of the character. Okay. Okay, so let's just say that it's gonna go here. The shirt is going this direction. The hand is going this direction. It's not a beautiful hand, admittedly. Okay. So it looks a little bit awkward, but as you can see, the animation is gradually smoothening because of the in-betweens. Okay, and I'm using both the paintbrush tool and the line tool. Now, the line tool has always have a partner, and it's called the selection tool, the shortcut of which is V, as in victory. Okay, so this is the anticipation right here. So as you can see, it is smooth. Okay, I'm just gonna adjust the layer right here, the framing by pressing Shift F5, the shortcut for clear frames or reduce frames right here. Okay. So as you can see, the anticipation or the vuelo of the character has smoothened. And of course, it's going to move, it's going to, it's going to take off. Okay. Now, this takeoff right here, you also need an in-between drawing here, possibly one drawing only. So I'm going to press F7 and activate the onion skin, and I'm going to draw the in-between of those two drawings rather. Okay. So probably I'm going to trace back one drawing. You can actually trace back the other one if you want to. There's no issue with that. Now, the reason why I'm tracing back the head is because I don't want it to be deformed as it moves along the animation. And well, it's okay for the body to get a little bit deformed because after all, they are having a squash and stretch. But the head is quite tricky. It has to be consistent. So as you can see, I've been drawing a lot here because this is the essence of 2D animation. You draw a lot. Of course, this is now, of course, the head has an arcing motion as well. The head probably will be right here. Okay. And probably I'm going to sketch the it's going to be impossible. So I'm going to draw carefully right here. Okay, that will be the in-between drawing. Okay, I'm just gonna clean this up. Okay, so what we have here, we are halfway done with this drawing. And okay, so this is the other one. So as you can see, it's gradually smoothening up. Okay. So for the next in-between drawings, I'm going to fast forward this video. Now, if you're asking me how many in-between drawings I should draw, it depends on you. It depends on the spacing of the drawings. You will be the one to determine it. Okay, so ikaw ang magtatansya, ikaw ang magde-determine kung ilang drawings ba, ilang in-betweens ang dapat bang i-drawing at ilang key poses ba. No, you are the animator, you're the artist, and you'll be the one responsible in determining as to how many drawings in order to complete a certain action. At the end of the day, it has to be workable, it has to be working, it has to be readable. The animation has to be readable, okay? So, in the next video, I'm going to continue creating the in-between drawings. So, sit back and relax. Okay, guys, so after putting the in-betweens among the key poses, we have this animation right here. So let me just play it for you. And as you can see, the animation has become smoother as compared to a while ago. That's because we've put the in-between drawings. And probably in the next video, I am going to color the background along with the character. So now if you press Control Enter, here's what you're going to see. So that, my dear friends, is the actual animation. The character is cleaned up. Okay, I've used the line tool and the paintbrush tool in cleaning up the character, and the brush tool was used for establishing the key poses. And if you If you're familiar with the 12 principles of animation, the animation methodology that I've used here is pose to pose. It's the pose to pose animation methodology. Okay, so that's it for now. And probably in the next video, I'm going to color my animation. Okay, so I'm going to see you in the next video. Goodbye for now. Okay, for this video, we're going to clean up the background. So as you can see, we colored it in dark gray, almost black. So I'm gonna clean up this drawing right here. So for me to do that, I'm going to lock everything except the background. So here's the background right here. So I'm going to unlock it and basically change the color into a lighter gray. And after that, I'm going to add another layer and lock the existing layer. And I'm gonna call this background cleaned up and then press OK. Okay. So now I'm going to clean up the background using a darker color. And probably I'm gonna use the paintbrush tool and I'm gonna set the thickness of the line into 2. So here's what's going to happen. So, okay, maybe I'll just make it a little bit thicker. So maybe 4 or maybe 3. I'm so sorry. Okay, so here's the boulder we've just created. And of course, here's the grass. And let's put some details right here. All right, so we have a cleaned up version of our background. And I'm just going to probably make use of the brush tool and, you know, make use of the brush tool and apply pressure on the brush tool. Let's see if we can do this. Oh yeah, I think this is nicer. So I am after the thick and thin of the brush. Yeah, okay. Okay, so here's our background. It's a plain background. So, okay, as simple as that. And so I'm going to erase the old background. And here we go. We have a new background. All right. So now probably if I have more time, I am going to color my background using a different software. On the other hand, I am going to color my character using Adobe Animate. So here's our cleaned up version of our scene. However, it is not yet colored. Okay, so probably in the next video, I am going to color this. So I'm going to press Control Enter to see the real animation. So here it is. So as you can see, the character is jumping over this boulder, which serves as an obstacle. Okay, so that's it for now. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Okay, so here in our next demonstration, we are going to export this background into a different software. And for this instance, we're going to export this in Adobe Photoshop. As you can see, the character is gone because I have blinded. I have covered all the layers. Okay, so including the character construction, I have blinded the layers, the layer that contains it. So I'm gonna blind everything except for the background, except for this layer right here. Okay, so now I'm going to export this into a different software, or rather, I'm going to export this into a PNG image so that I can color this into a different software besides Adobe Animate. Okay, so for me to do that, I'm going to press File, Export, and Export Image Legacy. Okay, so I'm just gonna export it here, and I'm gonna rename it as background for jumping character. And it's gonna be on PNG image right here. And I'm just gonna press save. And you're not gonna change everything here. It's as is where is. Okay, this is the export PNG window. Okay, all you have to do is export. Click on the export. And then after that, I am going to open my Photoshop. And we are actually inside my Photoshop. Uh, this is where I'm going to color my background. So I'm going to press open and I'm going to open this background for jumping character. Okay, and as you can see, you have this line art right here. So this is the image right here. I'm going to add another layer for the coloring. This is basically the line art. So I'm going to color it, or rather rename it as line art. And I'm going to drag down layer one and rename it as color. Okay, so using my stylus, I am going to color my background. Okay, so probably I'm gonna make it like this. And to add some drama into it, uh, well, I am assuming that you know how to use Photoshop, because this supposedly entails a different uh, lesson. This has something to do with digital illustration. So I'm assuming that you still know your digital illustration lessons, especially when it comes to Photoshop. And this is a widely used software in our school. So, but you can use Clip Studio if you want. So that's not going to be a problem. So, okay, I'm going to color the foreground, including these area right here. I'm going to color them as green. So I'm using organic style of painting right here. So I'm just gonna make this simple, okay? So not gonna make it too nice, no? Hindi na natin siya pagagandahin, okay? Because of the brevity of our time. Okay, so there you go. Let's put some soft edges, probably. Soft edges. I'm gonna use some soft brush. So yeah, I think that's nice. Okay. Let's put some shades right here. Okay, that's a simple background, right? Okay. And so at this point, we're going to color the grass. I'm just gonna make it really, really quick. Hmm. Okay, so it's not the best illustration that we did, but for the sake of this demonstration, we're just simplifying everything. Okay, so let's just color this. I'm gonna use my lasso tool right here. So by now, you know how to use the lasso tool of Photoshop. And I've actually created demonstrations regarding it. So we're going to color this. And probably we're gonna use the color gray. Now you can use any software aside from Photoshop. You can use Clip Studio if you want, or Krita, or Sai. Depends on you. Okay. So here's my obstacle. And I'm gonna use a darker gray for this area right here. I think I've overcorrected myself with the grass. I'm just gonna recolor that area right here. So I've accidentally painted over the green grass. So I'm just gonna go back there and repaint everything. No, not everything. I mean that area. Okay, so we now have this background. This is a simple background. It's not a beautiful background. It's not a spectacular one because if I'm gonna make this more beautiful, it's gonna take some time. Okay. Now for the brevity, for the sake of the brevity of our time, I am going to make this simple. Very simple demonstration. Okay, we can put some shadows if you want to. No, no, just kidding. So let's just leave it as is. So I am going to save this as, okay, I'm going to Control Shift S or File, Save As. Okay. And I'm just going to go in this folder. Background for jumping character 2. Save. And I'm going to save it into a PNG, File, Save As. PNG right here. Save. And press OK. And now we're going to go back to Adobe Animate. And from here in the timeline, we're going to add another layer. And we're simply going to import in this layer our colored background. So for me to do that, I'm going to press File, Import, Import to Stage right here. And I'm going to look for my background. And here it is, background for jumping character 2. And I'm going to press Open. And it should be here. Okay, I'm just going to move it. Okay. And here we go. Here's our colored background, and I'm gonna rename this as background colored. Okay. And I'm gonna lock everything. And I'm going to unblind some of the layers. No, I'm just gonna unblind the cleaned up character. Okay, so we're almost done. Okay, so we have a colored background, but our character is not yet colored. So for our next video, and if I have still time, I am going to color our character. So I'm gonna see you in the next video probably. So goodbye for now. Okay, so now we're going to color our character. And I'm gonna use the bucket tool. Okay, so here's the layer containing the cleaned up character. So I'm going to unlock it. Okay, so after unlocking it, I'm gonna make sure by the way, that everything is locked except for the layer of the cleanup. Okay, so now I'm going to select the bucket tool. Here's the bucket tool. And of course, our drawing, our lines have openings that we cannot see. Hence, I am going to close large gaps right here. I'm going to select the close large gaps right here. Or from time to time, I am going to select close small gaps and close medium gaps, depending on whether the bucket tool is going to work or not, because the bucket tool has so many technical issues, so to speak. So anyway, I am going to close large gaps for the meantime. And let's say I am going to select the color brown for his hair. And now, whenever you color your character, you start first with one particular body part of your character. So let's say on every frame, I'm gonna color all the hair. So I'm gonna click it like this, and then I'm gonna move to the next layer, or rather the next frame, and simply click on it. And as you can see, okay, so we have some gaps here. There you go. So maybe we'll just fix that later on. That's how you do it. I'm using the bucket tool to fill these hair. So the best way, the most effective way of coloring your character is to start coloring one particular body part. In this case, we are coloring the hair first, and then we proceed with the rest of the body. And this is how you do it. It's quite a painstaking process. Okay, it doesn't okay, you can see some gaps over there. We'll just fix that later on. Okay. So let's check out the coloring. Okay, so we have some gaps here. I'm just gonna color them like this to cover them. And this looks fine right here. Okay, there's another one right here. Let's just adjust that. All right, so we're done with the hair. Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color the flesh of the character. So let's just say that this is the color of his flesh. Okay, you can see that the close large gaps isn't working right here, so I just have to adjust the line. So we're done with the flesh of the first frame. And that's how you do it. So maybe I'm going to select close medium gaps right here for the bucket tool. Okay, the flesh spilled over on that area. So you have to adjust Now, admittedly, the bucket tool is the most difficult tool in Adobe Animate because it has so many technical problems. But you have to use it in order to familiarize yourself with the bugs of this Adobe Animate tool. You know, sometimes it has a peculiar behavior. It has this penchant, or rather, it has this mood wherein sometimes it doesn't want to work. Okay, so right now I'm using the close medium gaps. Look at that. Okay. My flesh just spilled towards the shirt. Okay, as you can see, it spilled over on that eyebrow. And another one, it spilled over because there's a gap on that line. And sometimes the gaps, the close medium gaps and the close large gaps don't work. So later on, you will experience this for sure. And there's nothing you can do about it but to try it and to familiarize yourself with the bugs or the technical problems of Bucket Tool. And by doing so, you're going to memorize, you're going to be familiar with its behavior, with its rather peculiar behavior. So I forgot to color this one. No, because there's a large gap right there, so it's not going to color. Supposedly, bucket tools work when there is an enclosure. Okay, so for the rest of the video, I'm going to fast forward my coloring. So, okay, sit back and relax. So I'm gonna fast forward this. So I'm gonna color my entire character. Okay, so see you. Okay, so now we have completed our animation. We have the colored background and we have the colored character. So here's our animation. Okay, so there you go. It's a fully colored scene. So imagine the painstaking process of completing the whole scene right from the rough sketching of the character construction up until the animation and the coloring. So that's production and post-production in a nutshell. So anyway, I'm going to press Control Enter to see the real animation. And uh, it doesn't take a second. Okay, we haven't reached a second yet. Yet we've almost done this animation for the duration of the whole day. And there's that feeling of satisfaction whenever you are able to make your characters move. And every animator is familiar with it. Okay, so there goes the animation of a jumping character over an obstacle. Okay, so so there you go. So that's it. So I'm gonna see you in the next video. So goodbye for now.